So one of the things I'm doing in the garden today is planting out my little lettuces that I had potted up a couple weeks ago. They're ready to go into the garden, and so I did that already, and into the space that I had my beets that didn't survive the birds or whatever it was that ate all the tops off of them. These lettuces are a blend that I got it was a free packet of like gourmet blend of lettuces when I ordered some other seeds. And so I'm trying them out, and I planted them pretty close together because I'm just going to be using them as a cut and come again. I'm not going to have any of them form a head or anything like that. So, but I also am going to protect them by putting a row cover over them. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So what I'm using, because the space is fairly small, are these little fiberglass rods that you just put together with a metal connector, and you can make it as long as you want, but these don't need to be super tall because these lettuces are really small right now. So we'll just put them, and then you stick one end in the ground, and they bend really nicely to form an arch. I'll show you in a second here. So it could be even smaller or shorter than this if I wanted it to. But this is the first one, and then I'll put one in the middle and one at the end. I'll show you that in just a minute. I really like this style of row cover because they're adjustable. You can make them for a more narrow bed or a little bit wider if you want. And then you just pop your row cover on top of these and weigh it down with boards or rocks or whatever you want. And yeah, it works really well. I have some other molded row cover forms that I use for longer rows and things, but this works really well for a small space. Now that that's all covered up, these little clips here, just pop them on to the rod through the fleece here, and they stay in place. This is a very cheap little thing that I got on Amazon a long time ago, and it's worked really well for these small spaces. I wouldn't recommend it probably for something larger, but for this kind of thing, it works pretty well. You can even do it one-handed. Wow. So anyway, this is my little lettuce bed that is now protected from, I believe it was birds. And while this is a really old fleece and it has a few little small holes in it and stuff, those birds won't be able to get in here. So that's good. Now on to the next. So I just pulled a string line about 10 feet away from my back fence here in this garden, because that back 10 feet or so I reserve for any perennial type plants I might want to have in there. I have put this jujube tree in here, and I've got comfrey, I have a grapevine, some blackberries, and a peach tree, things like that. But starting about 10 feet in from the back of this fence, or this back fence, I am going to want to start putting in some longer rows for growing maybe some tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, things like that, I think, here in this space. So what I'm going to do is start pulling the leaves and things away from this soil here so that I can get a better look at what I'm dealing with. So I've got a lot of work to do here after pulling that back and looking at it. As you can see, I had specific beds in place where I had those rocks surrounding them, and they're a little bit raised and they haven't been stepped in or anything. and they're probably perfectly fine, but the majority of this whole area here has been walked on, stepped on, not amended in any way. And I'm going to have to bring my broad fork in here and loosen it all up, get some amendments in here, and just get it ready, really, for planting some nice plants into it. Revamping your garden is always a fun and exciting project, but it's a lot of work to change things around completely. So that's what I'm going to be working on diligently until until planting time, because it's probably going to take me that long to get this ready. Here's a little test just to see what we're dealing with here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's pretty compacted. Normally you would be able to just step on it and wriggle around a little bit and in it would go if your beds are already somewhat worked. But as you can see, that's pretty solid. We do have a very heavy clay soil here, and I amend things constantly to take advantage of the really good mineral content, but the heavy clay has to be lightened up with organic matter and just some other things that will help the soil be more workable. Things like sometimes I'll put coco coir or peat moss or something in there to lighten it and acidify it slightly, things like that. But yeah, this is going to need a lot of work.